And happy Sunday evening. Welcome to Favored Allies. We're back here with our party, Embers Only. Um, I think at some point in our history, we actually did a brief introduction of everybody and who they were playing. Maybe we should get back to that. But today is not that day. So, last time on Favored Allies, our party attended the planting of Mama's husband. Thorn was brought to the Memory Grove and became the first elven memory tree in hundreds of years. It was a somber but festive time as we got to see Thorn regain some of what he had lost to the Fade and stands proudly in this new, recently powerfully protected grove. Um, Having spent some time with Mama's family, the party saw Thorn and some of the church elders to the ritual. Tosha, on the other hand, stayed behind at the temple in order to do a little bit of research and learn a little bit more about this new book that they have that they are able to scribe rituals in. And Having finished the ceremony, we rejoin the party as they approach the entrance to the temple. Embers only. It is, for your knowledge, it is about 4 weeks and 6 days until the ascension. You know that in another day's time there will be a group leaving from the temple here, heading north on the easy but faster path, easy but slower path back to Bastion. Alternatively, you could stick around here another week or two, either doing additional training or research, and take the fast path back, the fast and dangerous path. That is up to you what you would like to do, but in this moment, Embers only, what are you doing?
Can we ask for a clarification as to a population list of who's all going on the slow easy path?
Yeah, so on the slow easy path, you have a handful of folks from the temple. While Glory will be staying behind, there's a couple of folks uh, that you don't really know that have been around the temple, presumably lay people of the temple, either going to give support or take record of what happens in Bastion during the Ascension. Um, there are some folks from Swamp Shadow, so some members of the Bashida clan who will be attending, again, kind of for their own knowledge. A lot of the Mist Seers will be sending groups from their own clans to go and attend and see what the happenings are. So there's maybe 15 or 20 folk heading up that way. There's a couple of folks from the Bashida clan specifically that will be protecting the carts. There's about 5 warriors traveling alongside, in addition to the 15 to 20 people in the caravan.
So nobody we really care about.
There's
Not to be mean about it.
Yeah, no, but there's no, Mother Corn's gone, Willow's not attending, Glory is attending the temple, Penance is going to be doing their own thing. So, like, no one that you are familiar with or have met.
Just from a Derek perspective, in terms of how much he values making sure they get there okay. So I leave that to the group.
Yeah, I mean, I think I share with the group what I found from the research that I had ordered, as well as I let them know about the new spell that I have access to, Tiny Hut. But I
Yay!
say, yay. But I don't know what more. I don't necessarily have other items to research right now outside of that, but I would defer probably to Callie and Mama because I know you spent the most time looking over routes and are most knowledgeable on that. So as long as we're, I want to be able to reach out to Elena and Ramanari, and then hopefully, I'm sure Elias wants to try to find his sister if she's in town, but we want to try to talk to them before the ascension. But other than that, I don't really have any other business, so I'm pretty open to how the group feels about traveling.
Well, if you you have a way to keep us safe, which means sleeping at night on the more dangerous but fast path would be easier. And if something goes awry, I guess that gives us more time to get settled. In the city, someone's gonna do something nefarious. Or if we get waylaid by something. So I'm good either way. We have we know that there's swamp, mountain, and forest terrain on the way home. Is that right, DM? Either path?
Yeah, so on the long slow path that is primarily swamp with a little bit of mountain when you go through the frozen pass.
Okay. And then on the quick danger?
Yeah, that one is heavily forest, heavily mountain, also some swamp.
We were able to deal pretty handily with the swamp when we went through previously. Didn't have too much in the way of issues, thanks to Mama.
Well, and everybody who did the animal handling and everything else.
I mean, if we go
I'm
the
an
fast,
obstetrician.
if we go the fast, dangerous route, we have to deal with the wyverns again. We
potentially, yeah,
could re-encounter the grandmother of the mountain if anybody's eager to do that.
Nope.
Cool.
No, Lord.
I said could. I didn't say wanted to.
You could get your penis caught in a mousetrap. I don't know why you'd want to, though.
The thing is, if we go the other route, we're more likely to run into your old friend, Sister Iceheart. Sister Icyheart, was that it?
No.
Whatever her name was.
You talking about the hag?
Yes.
The lady who came into us? I do like Sister Icy Heart better, but I actually don't know if we have a direct name for her other than, like,
They've referred to
relative
her.
of Mountain Lady.
Yeah.
Or if we do, then I've got to look in my little notebook here.
She's been referred to because the grandmother of the mountain mentioned it. Come on.
Yeah, but she
know
called
that-
her, like, her sister or something like that. She didn't, I don't
her
think she
one
said a name.
sister is Putrid Eustace. There's
And
Mother of the
then-
Mountain, and then I thought it was Icy. Maybe not. We
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, I think she did say Sister Icy Heart, but regardless, she also
Oh, she
told-
did. I thought that was a joke.
She also told me that or the grandmother of the mountain told me that she wouldn't be interested in me anymore. For I don't know exactly why. It was a little bit cryptic, but I believe that was what I understood. So
Was it that she's no longer interested or that she's no longer able to get what she wanted?
I think it might be that.
Yeah. So did not strike me as the kind of
Blind.
person who takes rejection well or non-violently. So I don't know. Potential danger either way. It just depends on what people want to do.
Yep. Well, let's go then with the group, because I can help us all move faster if we're in swamp. Anyway, so
If they have carts and stuff, we're not going to be able to breeze through it the way that we did with Walk on Water, right?
No, but you could use that to fix smaller individual issues.
To abandon them as bait while we run away.
But also with the Swamp Ranger, this being part of their group, on the average, essentially, you won't be slowed as much as it might take a little less than 4 weeks rather than the typical, because the Ranger does prevent some of the parts that would technically be difficult terrain in overland travel.
I'm fine with it.
Seems like
I don't
so
have an
much
opinion either
time.
way, really.
Like I don't have anything going on. Don't get me wrong. It just seems like so much time.
Does give you extra time to work on stuff while we're traveling.
I don't really have much to work on right now. I made my
I
cog.
have something I could give you to work on if you're interested.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Well, no, I'm kind of curious if you can do something.
So the problem is this:
Mhm.
most of the like work that I need to do would require a forge, something not often found in the middle of a swamp or mountain or back of a caravan. Like for example, I want to start making myself some better than starting armor. And Nate had mentioned previously we're not using the D&D rules, so I don't have to wait 9 months for that to occur. So that would be my only like inclination to opt to stick around for a bit, just because there's a forge here.
Do you need the forge for it with your
Yes.
existing ability? Okay.
Yes.
Right. What about minor magical items?
Like
Do
what?
you have? I'm curious if you would be able to make something, and I'm
Stop
happy.
being cryptic. What the fuck
No,
do you
no,
want me to make?
I'm happy to give whatever money or ingredients would be needed, but I'm curious if there would be a way to make an item that blocks divination magic.
No. Next question.
Okay, well, never mind then.
That's not a minor magical item.
Well, it's not actually. I like the amulet of proof against detection location. I think isn't that like top tier or anything like that. So
Yeah, no, you want like caltrops that jingle when people step on them? I'm your guy. You want something that blocks magic? No, I
didn't
cannot
know
do
if you
that.
could make magic items yet. I
I
thought
can
you
make
could.
magic items. I can't be
Yeah.
doing that in an hour.
I didn't
It's
say an
minor
hour.
stuff. No, I still, if it's not something that's done through my channel divinity, I still need like to actually make it like we'll say the traditional way.
Gotcha.
My
Okay.
my ability doesn't allow me to just make magical shit. It's
No.
more like
Yeah.
if I need something that's under 100 gold, worth under 100 gold, I can
Yep.
make it relatively simply in under an hour with no like material components other than the metal that they would make.
Yeah.
That would be used to make it, rather.
I was thinking that like the actual bending of the metal probably wouldn't be too difficult. I didn't know what would constitute the actual enchanting process with like fire of life or whatever. So
no, so especially seeing as I took the artificer feat, the artificer initiate, I can start working on stuff like magic items. But again, I need a forge. I can't just like do it.
Okay, so it sounds
Fucking
like
goddamn Colin cryptic face. Like, just wondering if you do this minor thing. Sort of.
Trying to say it. Sorry.
That if there was a scale from 1 to 5, how well do you think you're able to, possibly do something for me? It's like, good goddamn, spit it out. Sorry.
Please don't. That computer's expensive.
Actually, it was with my colleagues at RTX. There's a specific person. Who? Anyway.
all right. So we'll hang around, use the forge, take the quick way home. Done.
Oh, works for me. Yay! I'm gonna start working on plate mail.
All right. How long are you planning to hang around?
How long would it take me to make plate mail?
3 days.
3 days?
And half the cost. Quarter the cost because you are at reduced cost for materials from this place.
Look up how much that is. Oh shoot, Nate, I have a question for you. Plate mail actually takes a 15 strength to wear. What happens if you wear plate mail, but you don't have a 15 strength?
I believe you're treated as you're not proficient with it. It's just too unwieldy for you.
Gotcha.
I think it might just be like half speed or something.
Oh yeah, it says it literally right
It might say it in there.
Yeah.
I lose 10 feet of movement speed.
There you go. So you could.
I might do that until I just might be slower because I don't want to get hit anymore. Let's see.
When is the caravan leaving? Like today?
It is the next day.
Okay.
Is there anything else you're sticking around for in this area?
I mean, while we're here, I'll mail out letters that I promised Willow I was gonna do. It's like send letters to my kids and let them know that I was being an asshat. And uh, that while I still think that she and I will never get along entirely, I might have exaggerated some of the things that I said about her. Partially.
Partially. A little bit.
And that I am doing that. Their father's been planted. We started a memory grove, which is lovely. He's very protected. He's doing better. I'm still losing my mind, but if they ever want to try to catch up with me, for now, we're headed to Bastion. Love and kisses from Hazel. Mama.
So.
Excellent.
So it'll take me, like, a while to figure out where I'm sending things, I guess.
Yeah, well, and you know that there are Messier runners that if you know where your children are, or if you think you know, some of them are spread among some of the Messier villages out and about. Some of them are just wandering. For example, Olive. So the ones that you know or have a strong idea of where they're at, they can send those out right away. The others, you do have to pay like a small fee to the temple to have them found. It's 10 gold, a significant amount before the activities of the last few months. Now you're like, oh yeah, that's nothing.
Can do.
All right.
Feel like Miss Moneybags over here.
And if you're here for 3 more days, if there are any other things that you all want to do at the temple, anything that you want to look up, anything you'd like to try and learn.
Did they get anything from the research that we asked them to do other than what you already told us? Just because there were elements that were like, if you can find this out later, we'll be coming back, old gods, ...
Yeah, so specifically, mixed in one of the things that I had told Jamie off stream, they had sent me a series of questions, and some of those aligned with the research that you had said, like, hey, if you have time, please also include this. So the findings that were there, for example, you have a sense of maybe where Chris Gadeen could be found. You have a sense of maybe where Valis Gadan's body could be found. Those were things that were part of that, couple weeks of research, and then the extra time that Tosha had been there while you went to Mama's. And for the sake of the stream, it's way out east in the Teeth of the Wrathful God, the fjords in the eastern Shattered Kingdom.
So, with the tree, it's planted. The leaves are used to make the tea, but that takes time.
So not the leaves of the tree. There is a vine that can be cultivated specifically on the memory trees. You have no seeds for that vine yet.
Okay.
And sorry.
Yeah, because what Kelly might do in that time is take a few cuttings from the memory tree. She'll talk to Thor and be like, "I'm really sorry. Hope this doesn't hurt."
Can I take your fingernail?
Yeah, just trimming your nails, just cutting your hair. Get a couple of cuttings because she wants to send messages back as much as she can to her people, to the Mudskippers, and just not sort of like Alar might send a cryptic message about what they found. I went north. What we heard was true. A quick question. No. And just
Hypothetically.
hypothetically speaking,
Quick question.
there's a chance for us to be able to remember moving forward, and she'll include the little trimmings from the tree and just not specifically mention there's a memory tree in this location. So and then best wizard to pull the clan together, heard there's trouble in the south, and whatever the mud skipper equivalent of the emoticon frowny face is, and then that's it.
All right. Yeah, you're able to send that with a runner. You find a Messier runner who has a relationship with some of the Mudskippers, and they can pass that off to their contacts who can then send it back to the Meandering Camp.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Do I have any extra knowledge, DM, just about like how long it takes the vine to grow?
You don't. The notes that you have are not really heavily on cultivation. They're on the preparation of the tea specifically. You know that the daughters said that they do have some notes on cultivation, that it is an arduous process and can be sped up by magic, but it's a matter of going from centuries to decades for cultivation when magic is involved. So it is still a slow process.
Well, I would do the read up on that just while I was there.
They're not super forward with the specifics on that.
Well, of course, but I would also fuss at them that my husband is now a tree. So,
You don't get that. It seems like there's only a couple of the daughters who have that information, and your fussing doesn't seem to be convincing. Whatever it is that they are hiding about it, they're like, no, this is something that when the time comes, we'll be sure to share it, but right now it's important that we keep it buttoned.
okay.
Do they have something at the temple because of that whole downstairs area where they had all the dangerous bullshit and the bitey book and that kind of stuff? Do they have anything down there that is like an anti-magic field or some kind of like, because they had a couple magic circles and things. Do they have anything that like seals and effects or something like that?
You're not getting, as you're asking about things that are down there, because you're not like welcomed to just come and go to that floor as you please.
Yeah, I also phrased the question of like, I know there was things we're not supposed to look at down there, and you had like a bunch of dangerous stuff. Question.
And they go ahead and give me a persuasion check, Alar.
Cool. With the new and improved persuasion check. Man, that feat came in handy. All right, so that is going to be, it's going to be an 18.
Yeah, so with an 18, you are assured that everything down there, everything that definitely doesn't exist down there, is safe. And you can rest assured of that.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
You're also, Mama and Ayla are starting to notice that in the absence of Mother Corin, your group, despite the things that you have done, have a bit less sway over some of the higher-ups in the temple.
Rude.
They forget who's done what for whom. The knowledge that we brought. See if I come back here and share my knowledge next time.
Nate.
Yep.
There's a couple quick things. 3 days, one of my long rests. Can I make a new disguise?
Yeah, go ahead.
The disguise kit. Okay. Roll. That is going to be 18 on the die plus disguise. That's going to be a 23.
Excellent.
I need to write that down somewhere before
You sure
I forget.
do.
Sorry. Okay, and I will basically craft a disguise of like something that very quickly just makes me look like a nondescript human man.
Human man?
Yeah, nondescript human man.
John Humanman?
Yes, that's his name. And separately, Derek.
Yo.
5 gold to do it. Would it be possible to make a pair of hunting traps?
Yeah, I can do those.
That would be great.
In a day, because I can do it twice. I can do these things twice a day now.
Well, technically, you could do it like, well, it's super short rest, right?
Technically, yes. But
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's
you
like
could do,
it
like,
still
6 of
takes
them.
me an hour
Yeah.
I don't want to spend my entire day just making you hunting traps, sir.
No worries. It'd be funny.
Eric also has a life.
Quick way to make cash. Yeah, I will happily pay for those.
Is it quick if it's 5 gold each?
I mean, how long does it take you to make stuff?
An hour.
Oh, you mean to make the money? I don't know. I don't know how much a gold is anymore. Okay.
With
Nate,
inflation being what it is.
It's 2 meal tickets. No, sorry. Anyway,
Speaking of, we need to use those meal tickets because if we leave,
you're going back to Bastion.
I know. How much does it actually cost to make? How much do you want for labor?
It costs me essentially just the materials to make it. And you don't want like fancy hunting traps, right?
No, it's just
I can
regular.
make it out of pig iron or whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, then it'd be like 200 gold.
I will find some when we go back to Bastion.
No, it'd be actually Nate, you could probably help me out with this better than I could. Actually
Yeah, I mean it'll
fabricate
be 2.5 gold for the materials on both of those. So then whatever you want to charge for, it'll be 5 total gold for the materials.
So we'll say 10 gold.
Cool.
For
All
my
right.
efforts.
Because
I'm running out of money.
Go ahead and give yourself 5 extra gold because I'll pay the 10. All right. Thank you. And now I can do terrible things to people if they come into our camp.
No, that Okay.
Yep. Anyway.
I already had a hunting trap. Well, now I have 3 of them.
Now you have 3
Jeez,
of them.
Kelly.
I'm just putting all of these
4.
down. Somebody breaks into my room and it's just like
everybody
mouse
wets the bed
traps
because
all
nobody
over.
wants to risk getting up in the middle of the night to like go out and try and pee.
It's just AR and then just a ring of traps.
And then we're also protected by the tiny hut, so it's just like really overkill.
Yeah, why?
Well,
why do we have all these protections?
Well, the other thing is that I can use Thieves' Tools to set them up with like a higher DC, and they can immobilize people to a degree. So the thought is like, we could put them down and then like lure somebody into it, kind of thing. So potential for the future.
might be a psychopath, guys.
A little bit.
Yep.
Like, guys, who are we luring?
All right. So, letters written, traps made, armor prepared, and we are heading out in 3 days. All right. You all notice the day before you're heading out, you see Penance packing a travel bag. And he comes and in particular, sees you, Callie. My Lord Callie. I'll be heading south. I'm going to stop by Swamp Shadow and talk to some folk from the Bashida clan. It sounds like they've already heard of some of the things that have come to pass here. And then I think we're going to head south, looking for allies, looking for folks who understand what we're trying to do here.
Well, travel swiftly, Lieutenant, and yeah. Oh, I will be thinking of you, and hope we meet again very soon. Good news. I'll kind of give Penance the lowdown of where we're gonna go.
You travel safe. That's a dangerous part of the mountain you'll be going through. They say that's the grandmother's land.
God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we came through that way, so weirdly, I'm more familiar with it than the safe way, so we'll give it a whirl.
All right, then. You take care.
Change is my middle name.
And he starts heading off, and you can see he has around his neck your ring with the sigil next to his holy symbol.
Yay, Penance. Do good things.
And Mama Penance stops and sees you and just on his way out. Mama, I'm glad you came back.
Good to see your face before you left. And frankly, tone's changed around here. Don't think I'll be coming back anytime soon, except to see Thorn.
Do what you must. You could say it's under new management. I think Glory will be fine, but, well, you know, it does behoove you to be friends with the head of the church. Especially as long as you had, begging your pardon for discussing such. But, well, moon bless you in your travels, Mama.
You too.
I think she will. And he turns and heads out. Heading southward, sort of skirting by, south and westward, kind of skirting by the direction of your old homestead in the direction of Swamp Shadow. The next day, party is prepared, ready to go. Glory thanks you again one more time for everything that you performed here and offers a blessing to the group in the name of the moon as you head out on your dangerous path.
Before we leave, I just want to thank Glory, especially, just privately for teaching me how to use some magic that it'll come in great help on our travels. And I also motion to Marana and help me be able to see in some sense.
Of course. High Priest, I just trust that whatever happens at the Ascension, you and your family will remember the allies you have here at the temple.
Of course, I will do my very best to make sure that that is never forgotten.
All right. And you strike out, heading westward, back on the path. You've been through here before. You've been through the Bogspine Tangle, this maze-like area. And between Mama, I'm assuming that you're preparing Water Walk again.
Of course, it's already in there.
Between that and Callie, you'll actually be able to pass through the first few days of this where you're in the swamp. No checks. You make it through just fine. The first 5 days or so of this 14-day-ish trek.
Sorry to interrupt, am I
Yeah.
bringing prickles? Do we have... Oh, hello, Fiddlesticks. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, presumably you have
You
the same horses that you traveled up there with.
Okay, I wasn't sure if because it was a mountain, if we weren't I don't know, mounting up or whatever.
Yeah, part of the slow, if you remember, the last leg of the climb would have been much faster if you left the mounted beasts and just climbed. But you took the full day to switch back up with the beasts, so you'll be taking them down as well.
Okay.
Stickers
Good
butt.
news though, Fiddlesticks.
Fiddlestick butt. Sorry.
Yeah. Recently, Callie has expanded her repertoire to travel quickly in mountains as well as swamp. So my ranger ability extended.
Well, that's great. So cool. You head up the path towards the into the grandmother's mountain. Traveling through here, it's eerily quiet. More so than before. You don't hear insects, you don't hear laughing of children or any of those other strange sounds. And you don't see a single beast on your path. Not a squirrel, not a chipmunk, not a bug.
I love this. This is great. Peaceful, no nature.
Didn't the folks say that if it was quiet, that was real bad?
That's real bad.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
High alert. And don't go off the bat now, especially.
If Callie is getting obviously, starting to take a look around, figure out what's going on, Can I go ahead and like also perception check, see like what's might be coming at us?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Oh yeah, do you want one? Sorry, for survival or perception?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Let's do perception specifically.
Okay. It's in the chalk die.
You're like a real life
Chalk.
fiddlesticks.
And then this is a mountain, correct?
This is on the mountainside.
Yay. Colin?
I am, as tradition dictates, useless in the natural world. I got an 11.
Excellent.
No. 17 plus 7, 24.
24. Yeah, so Alar, on the one hand, you're almost inclined to agree with Derek. You haven't had bugs crawling on you, nothing has stung you, you don't notice any wolves, but as it starts to creep in that actually you haven't seen anything. Not just like there's less, it does make you a bit uneasy. You don't know what you should be seeing, but you know you're not seeing it. And you can at least clock that with an 11. Callie, as you start looking for beasts and bugs and any sign of anything, if there's something around, you realize even the trees are still. The wind isn't blowing for a whole 5 or 6 hours traveling through this part of the mountainside. Everything is completely still. And as you look, you can even see there's just a faint, as the sun hits some of the grass in this mountainside that you're kind of climbing up through some trees and forest. It flickers just a little bit too bright of a green, a little unnaturally, just off either side of the path. And with the 24, you've never seen this, but you've heard stories that there are some places where even the animals won't go. And if you stray off the path, you might find yourself much further from home than you expected.
Okay, yeah. Convey that danger. Like, absolutely adhere to the path right now.
Also, if it would be helpful, I could take some time to cast Detect Magic if there's an area you all would like me to examine, or I could also send Morana ahead to look for anything. Just let me know.
Those sound both like great ideas.
Yeah, I'd be interested in, like, you can summon Morana back if the extension of the path, if there's like an upper limit. Like, if Morana goes too high, do they like bamf into whatever this existence? Like, what counts as off the path? We don't know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you could keep her staying flying on, but on the path, I wouldn't even be too far above it, really. Unnerving, unnatural.
Yeah, I will, I think I will, I'll just have her for now, ask her to fly, ahead of us, but stay within 100 feet of me so that we can still communicate, and I'll also instruct her to, like, stay, like, she's flying and we don't know how that counts path-wise, but I'll instruct her, to, like, fly along the path and not, like, veer out of that area. And also, yeah, like, within 100 feet, but I don't know what a good upper limit would be, but I would say probably not, like, higher than, like, 10 feet above the path, I guess. And yeah, I won't look through her eyes at this moment, but just ask her to let me know if she sees anything, alarming or out of the ordinary.
So Morana, again, like a 5-foot wingspan, and this is a large owl, kind of awkwardly tries to fly within the bounds that you've given, and it kind of looks like after a few seconds kind of gives up and tries to get a little height so she can glide. And she gets just above about 10 feet, and you can see the feathers just sort of, they don't fall off, they don't go anywhere, but you just see as she lifts up about 10 feet above, the feathers sort of disappear, and you just see this greenish glow where Marana is, and then as she glides back down, you can see she is again a owl.
Can I ask her if she felt anything like different when she went above that area, or saw anything different, or if it just seemed the same and it's only something like we're visually noticing?
You get just an image in your mind, and a feeling. The image, you can see there are these great trees covered in spider webs, huge, and looking up, towering. They must be 400, 500, 600 feet, just covered in spider webs, almost like candy floss, just sticking off, and in kind of set in the tree, you can see these strange little, they're almost like metal, but if some of the work you've seen Derek do with metal, it gets almost like a shiny like rainbow coat to it as he's firing it. It looks almost like that, and these small square chunks of metal that sink into the tree, and it's these concentric squares going into the trees, and a number of them, as though they're just a natural part of the tree. And kind of around, you can see a small, like, chipmunk-like creature with a skull for a head, a humanoid skull for a head, eating a small... At first you think it's a fly, but as you're looking at it, maybe it's a fairy? It looks like a humanoid body being eaten by this chipmunk thing. And the feeling, the thought that crosses your mind is just home.
Did you say home?
Home.
I'll relay all of this to the party, and just say, yeah, it seems like it is definitely not a good idea to venture up higher, in this place. Like climbing trees, things like that would probably be bad.
Nate,
Yes.
with my newfound Arcana skill, can I make a roll to see what I get out of this?
Go ahead and flex that Arcana skill.
We're finally half a wizard. Oh, I thought it was a 19. 14 total.
Well, with your Arcana skill, you know that this thing that Tosha has summoned is not actually an owl.
Yeah.
You know it's a spirit from elsewhere. The fact that it's saying home, these things it's describing that are deeply unnatural, it seems like stepping off of this path takes you to elsewhere, wherever that is.
Is it the kind of thing where it feels like, I don't know how big of a mythology this would be, but you know how like Fae and Cold Iron are like things that don't mix normally? Does it feel like those square concentric iron things are like keeping the Fae back?
You didn't see it, you got a description. It seemed more like it was part of the tree from the description.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess sort of related to that, based on what I saw from Morana, like, and that she said home, and just like my connection to the Asher and things like that, would I have any sense of like where home is for her, what that might be? Would that be like Arcana, religion?
I would give you Arcana on that specifically, not religion.
Okay, slightly better. That's gonna be 18.
Something that you've come across, specifically in your research of Amon Case, you know that they were a walker of worlds, is something that they were referred to of, and it seems like this is some other world that is somehow nearby, but also impossibly far away. Um, and something that you came across, something that was much more common in a past age, was doorways that would let you travel elsewhere that naturally occurred. And they were referred to as borders. And this fits a description that you're familiar with for a place known as the Border Twilight. It's sort of a place that if you were to, in a we'll say metaphysical way, not a specifically physical way, but if you were to enter this place and go left, you might end up in the world of fairies. And if you were to end up in this place and go right, you might end up in the world of the past spirits.
And what was that name again? The Twilight?
The Border Twilight.
I'll relay all of that to the party. And Morana, last question. Morana doesn't seem to be hurt at all by like passing when she passes between those different areas.
No, but you could see as she passed into it, like her physical form faded. But even that green sort of spirit that you saw in her place was starting to fade as it went. You think that it being just on the doorstep was one thing, but if it were to travel too far, because you can't be on different worlds with this creature, that was probably good that she didn't go further.
Great. Yeah, I'll tell her to like stay safe and don't interact with anything that she sees for now. And to try it, to not extend beyond the doorway so that we can maintain connection.
Cool. But yeah, she continues to sort of, she's flying at like half speed, trying to kind of stay in this little corridor, but she continues to travel ahead of the group.
Well, nothing like a cozy walk in the mountains, huh? Lord.
Yeah, I wonder what it means. But I suppose we'll either find out or never know. Those are the only two options.
I vote for never know. I feel like I've seen enough. And I've not seen anything yet.
As you travel on through the Grandmother's Forest, you manage to push on through. The time that it takes you to get up this side of the mountain takes you the better part of a day and a half or so. Towards the gravel pass, you find that intersection that you saw previously, where down the eastern path you could see some sort of large moving tree, perhaps, or tree-like being. You can't see that this time. You don't see anything moving. In fact, this area is quieter. You can start to see insects and animals kind of here and there along the path. It seems like you've made your way out of whatever that border area was. But as you kind of look further down, Mama, that great tree, or perhaps tree shepherd that you had seen previously, seems to have either moved on or gone elsewhere.
Which does make me a bit sad. I wanted to have a chat with him. But, we got places to be. Can't go chasing every tree shepherd in the world.
But after a few days of travel, you make your way through the gravel pass. Again, the dangers here, Callie, with your newfound appreciation for the mountain, you are able to, based off of your last passing through here, and perhaps even some of your time at the temple, you looked into some of the dangers of these mountains, and kind of confirmed things that you knew about traveling the mountains from experience and from handed down knowledge, and sort of corroborated that with some of the old tales of travelers of the mountain, and some of the old maps and some of the dangers. And with this newfound knowledge, you manage to make your way through here. It is not difficult terrain, but it does take you about 5 days. You cannot be lost in here, which is good. And you get through Gravel Pass without issue. The mother and child wyvern that you knew were here but a week or so ago, maybe 2 at this point, seem to have moved on.
Does the border twilight thing continue as we're going?
It does not.
Okay. So it doesn't. We're not still. There's no wildlife, no bugs, nothing.
Nope. And, here you're seeing small things here and there, but between and you see a number of dead Kruthik, some of the ones that you left behind, some others that appear to have been scorched, that are also a pile of them. At one point, you come to a junction about halfway through your travel, and you find the remnants of 15 or 20 of them, one maybe 10 foot tall. But these are scorched and mostly devoured.
Since this is over a matter of days, I don't know if we did it in-game when we talked about this. During one of the days, I'm going to go over to Derek and hand off the preservation case. Since we talked about using it for Glyph of Warding, and you have that now. I think you can just drop that into your character sheet, but one thing Elias will bring up is that if you want to lock it, we're going to need a key for it, and he's basically just wondering whether or not you would be able to make a key for a lock kind of thing, or at the very least he could help with like thieves' tools, kind of like figuring out a way to get it to fit.
If you could, because he's not exactly super experienced with like locks specifically. If you've got any way to like identify I can't think of the word right now, but the pins or whatever.
Teeth.
I've picked it, so I might.
I would say, because you have picked it successfully, and that it's not easy, because you picked it successfully, I'll let you make a thieves' tools check with advantage, and your DC is the difficulty of the lock, and if you succeed, you make a key that definitely works. If you do not succeed, we'll see what happens.
Well,
Hooray!
Yeah.
I'll make sure it works before I put the Glyph of Warding on it.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Okay, so it's DC 23. I have +7 to Thieves' Tools. Let's do this. Nat 20 and a D10. So
Hell
20
yeah!
is going to pull it.
So with a nat 20, you provide a shape to Derek. You're not sure if this is the true shape of the original key, but you know it is a shape of a key that will definitely work. With a nat 20, you're even able to point out to Derek, there's a point on the preservation case where there is a small sigil, and you believe with just a simple application of magic, sort of imbuing it with a cantrip, the key on a certain point along the shaft of the key, that should actually ensure that this key will always be treated as the key for this lock. So nice. You will not be in... Literally, nat 20 was the only way you could not be in any danger that the thing would go off in your face. So wow. I guess congrats.
Hooray!
You have something with a working key from 1,000 years ago that you were never supposed to have a working key for.
Sorry about that.
I'm not.
It's D&D.
Unlock lock.
Yeah.
Unlock lock. Unlock lock. Unlock lock.
Just playing with your lock. The other thing that I wanted to do on the way, takes 10 seconds for me to describe, is just I want to write up another first-hand account of the Trial of the Firstborn. This one intended to give to my sister when we meet her.
Awesome.
Otherwise, I'm just fiddling with alchemy stuff and like, ooh, smoke.
Sorry.
Great.
Mama yells at me for trying to start a fire. I'm like, I'm not dragging fire. It's just smoke. It's not going to burn down the mountain.
Smoking's bad for your health. I would know. I'm a cleric.
I will say you do find that the for some of your alchemical work, probably the best the best sort of like solution that you have to work with is probably bog water. So you might need to talk to Mama about that.
I can imagine it being pretty helpful.
But
You're lucky I just re-up my supply.
Nice.
Yeah, you're lucky that Mama's an alcoholic.
Can we make like a portable still? Like, would that be something that you could make with your forge ability?
yeah, it's just a big old hunk
See
of
why
metal
not?
shaped properly.
Isn't that just a like a pot basically?
Yeah, it's gonna take a while for it to actually work, though. Like, we can't probably bring it with us as like. Oh, I don't know.
It could probably fit in, I don't know if you had like a magical satchel that you could put things into. But I mean, short of anything like that.
Is it in any chance of spilling if you put it into a magical satchel?
Oh, yeah, if you put it in there full.
Well, I figured it had to sit there for a little while.
About half full.
Make like a seal around it with like a bunch of latches. No.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I needed to go over.
All right. So, making your way through the mountains, you get to probably the easiest hard leg of this journey, the northern swamp, where the waters are particularly deep, the opportunities to walk on land are particularly limited, and this party particularly does not care. So we're just going to skip all of the possible encounters there because I know that you will. So taking again, shaving a couple days off of what would be a good chunk of the trip, you make it back. You're within view of Uthel's stand within only 12 days. Again, shaving 2 days off the trip. A week or so ahead of your the other caravan coming up from the mountain. But you see an odd sight as you come out of the swamp into Uthel's stand. This big open plain that goes as far north as you can see, in this sort of bowl between the mountains. You can see Bastion, a day or so's travel in the distance. Little smoke over from some of the mining and industry there. But the strange thing that you see is a row of carts a little ways ahead of you, coming up from Widow's Pass. Large carts, maybe 20, 30 of them, with big banners. You can't make out any of the words on the carts, but they're brightly colored, some purples, some reds, pulled by teams of oxen. You see a number of folks. Some of the carts look to have beasts in them. Huge caravan coming up from the south, like Derek and Tosha you've never seen come up towards Bastion.
Does it look like a circus?
It doesn't look like a circus.
Oh, well, okay.
It looks like multiple circuses.
It's just the Prince Ali montage. Is
No.
the entire
It is
the guy on an
essentially.
elephant. Okay. Sorry.
So, is this normal for the Ascension?
I've never seen anything like this. Granted, I wasn't around for the last Ascension, but
Tosha, from your knowledge, from the stories you've been told, one, like, your mother would not do this. Your mother would not pay for this. Your mother would probably not allow this to happen. Things like this are a huge waste. There's a bunch of animals and things that come in that need to be fed in some way. It brings a bunch of people out, and also it takes people, like, there are specific holy days where there are festivals, there are celebrations, but like, this is taking people away from probably multiple days of work. Like, if they're here for the Ascension, they're here like a week and a half early. So at this point, a little over a week and a half early. So the idea that there would be this setup for weeks, yeah, your mother would not stand for this. So you're not sure why they're here.
I will share that with the party that I have no idea what this is about.
I look at Alar. Do you know what this is about? Last time I recall a circus, you had a certain family member in it.
It doesn't, like, that was my thought as well. It doesn't look like the one that we saw in Kashir, right?
No.
Yeah.
No. Longlegs' traveling performers is a troupe of 5 performers that travel in a small broken down cart going to backwater places.
Okay.
This, like one of these, now that you kind of identify it as a circus, one of these you've seen roll through Lube and is a big deal on its own.
Since Mama asked, is there anything that would register this as like a bunch of people who are here for the Ascension because it's the Ascension and they're not here to... Are these spies?
It is very difficult to incite a circus caravan from hours away. So
Fair.
I'm going to say that.
Right.
Does it cross Elias's mind that this might be spy related? Sure, that's kind of how Elias's mind works.
Yeah, it's true.
Like you see a pigeon and you're like, who do you work for?
I just killed a pigeon. No, we get food. Derek can cook something out of that.
Why would you need to cook it?
They deliver messages. You're just chasing them around.
Isn't that a Blackadder bit? Like, they just kill the messenger pigeon?
Yes.
But no. I'll just tell that to Mama. Like, it doesn't look like my sister's circus. Does look big, but I have no idea what's going on. Could it? Does it look circusy? Like, is it colorful, or is it just like huge tons of people?
It looks circusy. It's
Okay,
quite colorful. You see, there's obviously people around. There's a number of circus hands and things. One of them. Let's see. Now these look circusy. The one that you're familiar with, that you see, is referred to it's called Horse Sons Traveling Stage and Beast Show.
That sounds like a whole thing. Yeah, I was wondering if it might be like a delegation from the people whose names I can't remember who are like up in the mountains, the Kinsmen. But it doesn't look like that. So sounds likely. So
it doesn't look like their carts.
Yeah.
That said, you do know that Garson Horse, the ringleader of Horse Sons, is actually a kinsman.
No. Okay.
Or at least by birth is a kinsman, although he doesn't really claim them, and they probably don't claim him, from your knowledge.
I will share that with the group.
Well, maybe we can ask when we get closer. See what the big hubbub is about.
Yeah, and you arrive in the northern part of Uthel, or excuse me, in the part of Uthelstan outside of Bastion, as the sun is starting to set down the western mountains, and you can see several of these teams are starting to set up. There was some hubbub at the gate before you got there, and they're set up a few hundred feet out of the gate, and kind of spilling all the way out into Uthelstan. There's you can see one of the large carts. It appears that there's a group of burly folk laying out what look like minecart tracks next to a hill. You can see like another ring of carts, and you can see there is a sign on this one now. Great and purple and gold Horse Sons Traveling Stage and Beast Show. And you can see that there's 5 large carts with beasts in them. One of them some sort of panther-like creature with these little tentacles, and looks like maybe there's 2 of them in there. Um, Another one, you see just a big, maybe 7 foot tall, round shell, as though a snail, very, very large. And in another one, you see a black bear in a vest, just sort of sitting down and munching on some dried salmon. Um, and in another, you can see a sign next to it that says Pokey, the baby horizonback. Callie, you know that horizonback tortoises are rare, and it is very hard to get them to egg and mate and actually have. So, baby horizonbacks are. You seeing something like this, it would imply that this was probably stolen from your people. But as you approach, you notice this isn't a horizonback tortoise. This is just a big, full-grown tortoise and not a baby at all. But most people don't know the difference. Um, uh, and then you see kind of trundling around, ordering around some of the folks setting up, is a halfling, kind of in almost like knightly garb, on top of a large, maybe 4 foot tall badger that is wearing knightly barding. And as you kind of see, the barding has all kinds of filigree on it, but as you look closer, there's like little smiley faces in the filigree. There's like a penis here. It's all goofy kind of filigree on all of the barding and the armor. And as you pass by, you can hear the way it clanks. It probably wouldn't do anything. It's definitely there for show. But as he's like trundling along on this giant badger, with a little ribbon across the front that just says honey, as they're kind of like ordering folks around.
Now that Kelly sort of had a look at the horizon back, if she can amble past some of the other like open exhibits, do they also appear fake? Like the cat with the tentacles? Does that seem real?
That one, as you kind of approach, it gives you pause. Because you get a little closer than any of the workers, and one of the tentacles kind of like lashes out towards you, and you can see little like teeth like spikes on the tip of it, swings out towards you, and there's just a large orcish hand lands on your shoulder and pulls you back like 2 feet. Ma'am, no closer, please.
Oh, no, my apologies. I was just enchanted.
Yeah, Flitter. She's a good one. She'll also take your hand, and raises up a stump on the left side. Be mindful. She's a good one. She's a good cat, though. It wasn't her fault.
Have I seen anything like this before? Like, or would I not get the sense of what it is?
Give me a nature check. Let's find out.
I would also be there, probably like
Also
hunting
give
around.
me a nature check.
Thank you.
That is a 3 plus 5 is 8. It is 8.
It looks
worry, I
like a
gotcha.
weird panther.
23.
Jesus. Mama.
23.
Mama, you haven't seen one of these, but you've heard tell, from your druid circle specifically, of a very dangerous predator that hunts in packs, almost like one of the elder druids referred to them as nightmare wolf cats. But they hunt in packs, they attack in groups, they're incredibly smart, and they're able to create simple illusions of themselves, making it really difficult to fight them. But yeah, that's you are somewhat familiar with them in that you've heard their description, but again, you have no first-hand knowledge of this. You know that they can. There's parts of Bogspine Hollow that they are known to hunt in, And occasionally there'll be a group from Chipscale who says, you know what, this part of the hollow, we're going to take it, and this is going to be our hunting grounds. In your time, that's probably happened like 3 times in your memory, so probably more. And they've not successfully been rooted out.
That's a particularly tough kind of animal, if that's what I think it is.
Well, we're particularly tough folk.
Well, we used to call them nightmare wolf cats, where I come from.
We call him Twin Beast. And he kind of points over to a sign and pulls down. There's like some of the like canvas had flapped over. We call them Twin Cats. And yeah, don't let Flitter out of her cage, please and thank you.
Oh, yeah, no worry on that. We're still trying to get him out of Bogspine Hollow.
Well, don't get all of them, because if Twitter acts up, if Flitter acts up, and we need another one, well, that's about the only place I know to find them.
Yeah, well, you don't have anything to worry about, my folk. They failed so far.
Good to know. And then you hear, Rufus, tea time! And he goes walking over towards the bear, and you see the bear that's kind of like sitting there in the vest, just like a pile of salmon on its stomach, eating, kind of stands up and ambles over to the edge of the cage and sticks out a paw. And he holds up, this orc holds up in his good hand, so other hand, holds up a tiny little porcelain, maybe? Teacup. And so this bear is like pawing and then grabs the teacup with just his claws, brings it in, and sips. And he turns to you. It's just honey. And after a couple seconds of like sipping politely, he just starts licking out the honey from the bottom of the teacup. Now don't break it, and you just see it.
I look at Callie, I'm like, Thorn would have lost his mind. I would have lost him to the circus.
I was thinking the same thing. Not the lost to the circus part, but that he would have liked it. So the orc's name, do we gather that it's Rufus? Rufus, was it?
Rufus is the bear.
Rufus the bear.
Rufus is the bear, yeah.
Oh. Sorry. Well, I'm Callie. This is Mama. I have never seen a circus before. What are so many of y'all doing here?
We were paid to come up, as far as I know. And kind of like looks around and is like, the Holy Family. I don't know their names. Paid us a bunch of money to come up here, and folk in the north don't really use money like we do in the south, so they just paid us to come up here and perform for free, and we just get paid before we came up, some of it, and we'll get paid some of it after.
Like, was Crast the name by any chance?
That sounds right. That sounds exactly right. Yeah, it was a runner. One of the mud skipper folk came down with a letter and a bag of gold from the Crast, saying that they were having this holy ceremony, and they wanted to throw some sort of event for the peoples. I can say, the rulers down south, they just don't do things for the people for free, so I appreciate it. I like the idea. I wish we got paid more generally coming up here. I'd come up here more often.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know rightly the exact deal of it. You'll have to talk to Horse Son himself. Garson Horse, excuse me.
It's not Garson Horse?
Garson
Okay.
Horse.
Thank you.
And you can see a separate set of differently designed carts are kind of setting up a few hundred feet to one side from here, and you can see there's an elf dressed up in like a big old hoop skirt, and she's got like a top. You notice there's a handful of folks here who have very decorative like jackets with long tails, and she's one of them. And she's kind of going around pointing as they're setting up some tents and some small buildings that kind of like are being constructed out of the carts. And you see a sign going up that says Fairy Mother's Games and Excitement as she's setting up some of these little stands and stalls. Over by where you saw the cart tracks that are being set up, you can now see a sign that says Trade Winds, and under that you see there's just a little additional text, and it just says ride the trade wind, or ride the winds of trade. And then you can see kind of whitewashed over, kind of sloppily, kind of quickly, still possible to read. It doesn't seem like they cared. And it says, brought to you by the venerable and valuable Ostrite Trade Guild.
Oh no.
Well, this isn't a me thing, but it does make me think, oh, did what's his face decide to come here because all he knew was that that book he was super interested in went with us, and we were heading back to Bastion. Are the Osts here to mess with the Ascension, to get the book, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess, DM, what would I know about, like, the Ostrites' interest, I guess, in the Ascension from what I'm aware of?
The things that you know about the Ostrites are that your mother's first rule of the Ostrites is that you do not trust them. You know that having been taught by Marana, who kind of has like less of a black and white view of the world, Marana's actually first thought of them is also do not trust them, first and foremost. You know that they deal in trade, and that they typically don't come up here because, frankly, their way of trade doesn't match the northern way of trade, and they've kind of been run out of town a couple of times. They've come up here occasionally on diplomatic excursions. None of them have really panned out the way that they had expected or intended. What their intentions with the Ascension would be, you don't know, because to your knowledge, this is kind of outside of, this is religious. This is outside of their field of money and politics. So it's probably rather confusing to Tosha why they would be here.
I guess I'll just go over to Elias and say, do you know what this might be about? It seems a little bit suspicious. I can't imagine Kamishava would have paid for something like this. Which means, I don't know, seems like somebody else must have, or wanted them here for some reason.
Either Kamishava's pulling some sort of weird gambit, which does not seem to be in Kamishava's general wheelhouse, or somebody else decided to send a letter saying that the Krasts wanted this up here. And either that's a rival from within Bastion, or equally likely, it's someone who is looking to interfere in some way or shape or form with the ritual, or use the cover of the ritual as a distraction to do something else. Either way, I mean, this is bad. This is bad for Kamishava that this is here. And it's probably bad for whoever is invested in the city behaving the way that it normally does. But I don't mix with the Ostrites. We don't play nice. I mean, they do their job for, you know, the King of Lug and stuff, but like we're not friends. So
They don't play nice with anybody.
no, I mean most people. I mean, you saw what happened with the dude who was working for the he was working for the Dorellos in the Masonry Guild. Basically, they're the same family as the king, and they still don't play nice with everybody else. Like, it's just everybody is like that. Just how it works.
Yeah, I guess my question is, I don't know a lot about this type of thing, but should we be worried?
Yeah. Anything that you don't know ahead of time is something that is worrying. The question is just, why is it worrying? Is this because they're using it as cover to rob a vault beneath, Bastion? In which case, we don't care. Is it because they're trying to smuggle in a bunch of... I mean, honestly, they just want to rob money. We don't care. Or maybe they're looking for lore on old, whatchamacallits, in which case, that is concerning. Or maybe they're trying to smuggle in troops to kill everybody at the banquet. Kamishava probably already has heard about this, or someone is going to tell Kamishava, and I am assuming that the reaction will be interesting to see.
Colin, what is Elias's passive perception?
Not terrible. Passive perception is only 14. Mama's, I think, is higher.
Mama's is much higher.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's fine. The thing is that we know in the basically the world as we know it right now, there's unrest with the goblin tribes.
Mhm.
I'm just listing off all the words. Let me finish.
No. I'm yeah.
Yeah, and then down south where my people are, youngins are rebelling and trying to take the islands. Then we've got the Outright, who's still pretty quarterstaff butthurt over us defeating his cultist setup, plus the cultists in general.
Staff butter.
Yeah, you step it way up there. Yeah, and then other deities possibly coming back to life for whatever reason, and have whatever followers. So, and then there's possibly more candidates for this thing. No, this, by the way, I guess we're walking, talking, not in the middle of Circus Central.
Right.
That there might be more candidates for this ceremony than there ever has been before or for a while. So something is moving, is what I'm thinking.
That would be something if there was a candidate who had left Bastion somehow and was connected to the Ostrites in some way. That would be something that they would be probably very, very interested in when they find out that, the tattoo shows up. No way to know, at least for a while, but that would be interesting.
That's why we got here early.
We go the long route, we show up, and it's just a dead caravan in front of the city. There's just bodies everywhere. Kamishava took them out before we showed up.
It's oh, well, why don't we just turn around, go back, and didn't see it, nothing happened.
Mhm.
It's not our fault.
We're with Dosha.
Yeah,
No killing, please. Do we want to try to press on? Do we want to try to stay the night here?
well, we're at the gate. We may as well go in if we can, right?
Is this the gate to Bastion itself, or is this the town outside of Bastion?
This is the gate to Lower Bastion. So
Gotcha. Okay.
they're set out outside the gate, past there's kind of outer Bastion where you've got the livery stables and a lot of folks who don't live in the city proper. So this is just past kind of the borders of that.
Gotcha.
Spilling out into kind of the open plain.
Yeah, I think I personally probably have more to do inside the city, but I also am not necessarily the best at finding out information from people from the south, I don't really think they would tell me much. So if anyone, if we had reason to want to stay here and talk with these folk, I'm open to it. I just don't think I'll be very useful there.
And Tosha, you in particular notice there's, I think everyone else doesn't know if this is, well, and Derek, besides you two, everyone else doesn't know if this is normal or not, but you do notice that the guards at the Bastion Gate, oftentimes there's a handful of guards there, and there's a couple on the wall. But for the most part, you don't have a lot of guards like at the gate or on the wall. You know when somebody's coming for a long time before they get here. But you see 10 guards on the wall. That's maybe close to three times as many as you would normally see. There'd normally be 3 or 4 of them. And then the guards at the gate, you can see have actually doubled up. So there's 6 guards standing outside the gate, kind of like at the ready and just sort of staring at whatever this is getting set up out here.
I'll just say, yeah, it seems like whatever this is definitely has my mother's attention and some suspicion.
Is there anybody within eyeline keeping an eye on the group as we're like going past?
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
Is this, you mean going into Bastion or you mean going through the circus?
Either. I don't know if we're actually going in yet. So.
Okay, give me a perception check, and we'll see.
Better. That's going to be a 23.
There's only one person who seems to give you a lot of notice out here. Most of these look like workers, although I'll give you a couple things on a 23. One, there's one of the vendors that seems to be setting up over at Tradewinds, is a gnome. And as you kind of look at them, you're like, you look kind of familiar, and that hits you. You know this gnome, while they're in bright colored ruffles, on their left arm, under any of their clothing that can be seen, you know that there is the tattoo of a black snake wrapped around it, with little green venom drops at the end.
Oh. That answers some questions. Cool. Great. Okay.
Besides that, something else you notice with the 23. Most of the people setting up here, they're carnies. They're people who maybe other parts of their life haven't quite worked out, and so they're traveling with the circus and doing the heavy lifting and all of that. But when you look over at Tradewinds, they're very efficient. They're also a little cleaner cut than most of the carnies that you're seeing elsewhere. And they move with consistent efficiency, and you see like regularly, like a handful will work together and then go back and check in with the same person, and then a handful will work together and go back, and there's 3 or 4 groups kind of operating that way. Again, moving more like folks who were highly trained to do this rather than folks who fell into it.
Okay. And the person with the tattoo is the one who's keeping an eye on us?
That's the one who notices you.
Gotcha.
First notices the group, and you see them look and kind of clock Tosha and watch them, and then you lock eyes with them, and they kind of have this oh shit look on their face.
Yeah. Presumably, the two of us then immediately don't look at each other ever again, because
Yep.
we never... Yeah, no, okay.
You actually see he like looks off towards one of the houses that's a little bit it looks like maybe it's empty, like it's not currently in use, and kind of like looks at the far side of the house and looks to you and nods, and kind of like goes back to his work before a few moments later circling around the far side of the cart and heading towards the back side of that house.
Okay.
Do I notice that Alar's acting weird?
What's your passive perception?
Let me see.
Alar, what's your passive deception?
My passive perception's
19.
a 19.
I think
Okay.
if it matches, you win, right? Like,
Yeah, I
it's
think
the
so. I think
attacker.
Perceptor.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, you do notice Alar kind of like just doing his normal paranoid sweep, and then there's a moment, and then he kind of goes back to his paranoid sweep. But you noticed it. There was something.
So I cast a telepathy
Mhm.
on Alar, and I say, "You're being weird. Even I noticed it. Do you need me to cast Detect Thoughts before I sleep for the night?"
Not yet.
A simple
I
nod or shake of head would do.
well, no. Can I reply back
I
telepathically?
don't think you can reply back telepathy. I'll double
Oh,
check
okay.
though. Double check that first. I'm pretty sure I can just talk in someone's head, which is really why I took it.
Amazing.
I'm not real good at listening, but I'm real good at talking.
No worries. I will very quietly, like, Mama's asking this. I'll shake my head like briefly, and then just
Yeah, you can't respond.
yeah, to
That
the
was why I
group
took
as a
it.
whole. I think I might have I recognized one of them. I will see what I can find out for you.
Okay.
Do you want me to send Marana maybe to fly overhead or something? Are you afraid this might be, do you need help? Are you afraid this might be a dangerous situation where you want another pair of eyes?
They do owe me. It should be okay. If you want to send, can you have Marana just like sit on? How big is that owl? Is it like giant?
It's
It's
like
really
2.5
big,
foot
right?
tall.
Okay. That's really noticeable.
5 foot wingspan.
Yeah. If
I
you
could
want,
become a spider again.
that might actually be a better idea. That would actually be my thing. I think it might actually be a better idea to have Mama come with me to meet this person rather than Morana, because Morana's going to be a lot more noticeable. And on top of that, Mama, if you want to do detect thoughts beforehand,
Which person?
I think it's not on someone.
I think it's
right?
centered
Like,
on
it's,
you. I think it's as they.
It can be.
Is that right?
if I'm remembering correctly, it's like it's you get like a field and you can sense anybody in there, but then you like one at a time have to focus on people, but you're not casting it at someone, you're casting it on yourself, I think.
Sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Give me a minute before y'all talk to me again. I'm going to cast that. Okay? 2 of those a day.
I'm gonna make it like the whole thing of like me angling away from the group and kind of like separating. Where do you guys want to meet up? Like, do you want to meet back inside the city? Do you have a specific position where I can meet you guys after we figure out what the heck's going on here?
You guys can hang out at my house.
Oh. Okay.
You're gonna have to stoop.
Not if I'm a spider.
Where is
Fair.
your house?
I wouldn't be a spider around my family, as that's
true.
lunch.
Food.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where is your house?
I'm presuming, Nate, you can kind of adjust as is necessary because of the natures of like we'll call it the uncivilized cultures of goblin etiquette. They're probably not in whatever residential ring occurs around like the major churches and whatnot. I don't know if there's like Oh, I don't know if it would be like, say, much a slum, but it's probably an isolated area.
Your house is an outer bastion, so it's actually outside of the gates.
Racist. I can go to my mom's house outside the gates.
Your mother was dead.
Yeah, it's still her house.
Oh. Who lives there now?
I don't know. Whoever took it over since I left.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, we might need to kill someone when we go in there. Who knows? Could be one of my brothers. Could be just some random other goblin. Could be
That
nobody. Could
sounds
be
a
completely
long
abandoned.
commute.
Okay. Then we can meet up back at Derek's mom's house.
All right. So, Mama, you're gonna turn into a spider. I'm gonna need a.
That
What's up?
yeah, I'm just checking what other bugs are my options.
Okay, as you check that, whichever you go with, I'm gonna need a stealth check from you to see if you can do that without being noticed. Elias,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna need a stealth check from you to casually break away and not draw attention.
What was my mom's name?
And this probably isn't sound-based, so there's no advantage. Okay. 18.
18. All right. Mama, what was yours?
I'm rolling now.
Come on.
Plus,
go.
what is my stealth? Come on. Load for me. Well, that's a 15. So I have a plus
All right.
0.
You, Mama, don't hear anybody respond to what you were doing, so you think you didn't catch anyone's attention, at least nobody who was...
But I had cast Detect Thoughts. Do I hear anybody notice?
What's the range on Detect Thoughts? 30 foot, right?
I believe so.
No, you don't hear anybody notice.
Let's do this.
Alar and Mama Jiminy Cricket. You make your way. What's that?
No.
Sorry. You make your way over to the far side of this house, and you can see there's a this gnome is over there, and he appears to be picking at some of the plants and weeds as he's going through. And you just hear, "I'll be with you in a minute. Just pretty sure I saw some mugwort down here. Doesn't look like anyone you knew." You're a long way from home, soldier.
This is at the house. This is
This is behind the backside of the house.
Okay.
And much softer. You're a long way from home, soldier.
Yeah, it's been a while. I thought you were retiring.
Yeah, so did I.
Okay.
But you know, it seems that this is a time of political and religious upheaval. And let me tell you, when one of those things happens, there's a ton of work. When two of them happen, I assume that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Moving
yeah,
up in those ranks still, right?
Huh. I ended up in some trouble after, not because of you. Stuff went sideways afterwards. But yes, I'm up here because of what's been going on.
I never understand you kingly types why you have a hard-on for following somebody instead of just following the coin. But, doing what you do.
Coin. Coin's pretty good.
Now, look. I know what you probably want to hear from me, and I'm not going to tell you why I'm here. But, as a gift to you, I'll let you pick one person, and they are totally safe.
Oh. Interesting.
And Mama, as you are reading surface thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
as he's talking, he's looking at Alar, and you just hear notions of, well, he's being very congenial. You can really hear the, fuck, what are you doing here? Fuck, why is this kid here?
Nice.
If Mama directs the detect thoughts towards Elias, there is just a long and involved mental conversation about whether he says Tosha or whether he says his sister.
Yeah, I don't direct my thoughts toward Alar because I know it's going to be long and drawn out. So I
Yes.
just focus on the one in front of me.
Yeah.
Also, we travel together, so I'm trying not to listen to what your process is because my job is to listen for you at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Eventually, like Alar takes a second, and then, Birchwood Crystal Tune's supposed to be having a pretty nice performance around here. Be ashamed to miss it.
The Traveler. Should be easy enough. And Mama, you hear, why the hell does he care about this Traveler? And yeah, should be easy enough. It's good to keep folks safe, you know?
One quick question, and I'm not gonna ask why you're here.
Good.
How difficult and how bad is it gonna be for me to get out after you do what you do?
Look, son, I don't know what your plan is. I don't know who you're here for. So I can't answer any of that. I'm not going to make life hard for you. Not on purpose, and probably not on accident either. My hope is that we're here either aligned, or at least not at cross purposes.
No. I'm just hoping the city doesn't get locked down for any reasons that would be inconvenient.
I don't think such a thing would be a problem for you. And as he's answering these, Mama, you kind of hear him thinking. He's like, yeah, probably a city lockdown. Probably a lot of things, but you know, comes with the work.
Okay. Great. Glad we're not at cross purposes.
It's good
Best
to know.
of luck.
I'll be, God, I tried telling this guy's a fucking idiot, this Ostrite. I've been trying to tell him. He wants me running an eating contest. An eating contest!
I'm sorry, you said a fucking idiot, and my heart stopped for a second there. Continue. Eating contest?
Eating contest.
Mm-hmm.
In Bastion. Do you know how they treat food up here?
Yeah.
I'll be stoned, and not in a good way.
I have heard that the goblin residents of the city are not quite as austere.
Yeah, the goblins. They're the ones I'm worried about.
I meant like they'd probably show up for the event. But I know what you mean. I could try to talk to your boss for you and see if we can get you.
Oh, please don't. Please
Okay.
don't. Please
Good.
don't. I don't need anybody knowing, well, anything. I'm
Exactly.
sure your folk are here. I don't want them seeing me talking to you. I'm sure you don't want them seeing, well, me talking to you.
The last thing that I want is anybody finding out about you. So.
Well, luckily, they don't know who I am. And he's like, and he leans in, right?
I don't know who you are.
Great. And Mama, you see a little flash, just a picture. This small, stubby arms, maybe this gnome's arms. You can see there's a black tattoo of an asp specifically. wrapped around the forearm with a wicked little face with teeth that have drops of poison coming out of them, and holding a dagger, and you can just, the thought of just, I could just end it right here, looking at Elias, who was much younger and wearing footman, like a guard's clothes, like someone who you might see outside of a city, for example, at a gate. And you just get the brief look of that. Take care of yourself, kid.
Mm.
You let me know if you want to go independent. Could always use help.
I'll keep the option open.
Always keep options open. Oh, that's all the mugwort I found. Thanks.
Yeah.
And he starts to trundle off. You have a moment that you're still in private if you'd like to.
No, I'm not going to bother with an insight check on this guy because, like, obvious reasons. But can I, like, perception check or something to make sure that, like, not taking anything, not putting anything in pockets, not like, you know, he's not pulling any weird stuff with.
Give me a perception check.
Okay. Please. Okay. 19.
This is what I get for not prepping my fucking dice ahead of time.
Sorry. You could always just say he doesn't try anything funny.
Of course he didn't try anything funny.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, no. You're fine.
Okay.
All right. But he meanders off. Gets back to putting his thing together. Oh, I found some mugwort at that house. We can start putting together the... and he's talking about some fizzy potion for the kids.
I will walk a complete other direction. Is it the full minute for Mama's spell, or... Okay.
It's done. I assume.
Yeah.
Cool. So that'll be a fun conversation later. Anywhere you want to go while we're here?
And I think loudly to him, a place to change would be nice.
Cool. Do they have... I'm looking for anything that is isolated. Like, honestly, like a latrine probably would have been fine, but like anything that somebody's not going to bother you kind of at.
Yeah, you can find, there's actually a latrine, like, by this house. Again, the house is abandoned, the latrine also abandoned, a little overgrown, a little stanky, but useful.
Yeah, if they got like an outhouse or something, I'll just go in, drop off the spider, leave. So if somebody's watching, they just see two people come out. But
Gotta see a man about a spider.
yeah.
Yep. You walk out. There's a lot of commotion going on. Nobody really seems to be paying attention to you. And the one person who might have seems to be extra kind of like putting on a show of what he's doing right now. So
I'd also
you
want to put
both,
some distance between us anyway, so that's good.
you both maybe a minute or so apart step out.
Mm-hmm.
We need to talk. It'd be better to do it once, so let's do it when we get back up with everybody else.
All right. Rest of the party, you all go to Derek's mom's house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't find my notebook with my mom's name in it, so I don't know if they like. Is it common to see people who are not goblins walking through this area? Like, is anybody going to give them a hard time?
So it's common to see goblins. In fact, the house that you have is actually part of like a circle of houses that are around here. It's actually one of the smaller ones in that it's only a one family dwelling. There's a number of these places that are 3 or 4 stories and are gnomes, halflings, goblins, might have 3, 4, or 5 families in one of them. Your mom's place actually was one of the few places that was kind of dressed up. One of the nice things about being outside of Bastion is that this is actually owned, whereas within the city it is all kind of public housing. So as you come here, you notice that your mom had a nice sign out front, kind of over a garden. You and some of your siblings actually kept it up, even when Big Gut wasn't super excited about it. Um, but the sign's been torn down, the garden's been ripped up, and the door is slightly open. You don't see any light coming out from inside.
Just how I left.
The rest of you notice that given that the roof of this house is at about 5 feet, it is going to be a little bit of a stoop as you are inside this two-bedroom, single-floor dwelling. Decent enough to keep a family if they're small enough.
Time to work the calves and the quads, and I'll just like hunch down.
Just
Yeah,
duck walk in.
Do an awkward motion of like taking Marana off my shoulder and putting her through first, and then like clambering in.
The ceiling is 3.5 feet.
They said 5 feet.
Ooh,
No, the
alright.
roof is 5 feet.
Oh.
You have an attic.
So I have to duck when I'm in here, because that's literally my height.
Oh, sorry.
It's
Ceiling's 4 feet.
There we go.
Okay.
It's no better for you guys.
It's really not.
Yeah, maybe I'm crawling or like probably sitting inside somewhere that Derek tells me it would be
Yeah,
okay.
you can have that bedroom.
No.
Tosha, the elves, you guys can have the other one. I'll take the couch in the main room.
As you enter,
Otherwise,
there
you
is
can hang out
no
and sleep in the
furniture.
garden.
Even
Yeah.
even
I'll
the
take you where the
fireplace
coach
has had
used
a
to
bunch
be.
of the bricks taken out.
What the fuck?
Aww. Aww.
Bending.
You mend it up. The missing bricks are still missing, but now it looks like it's stylized.
That's better.
And you kind of poke your head out and you look around and you notice there was a goblin family, or four, that lived in the house immediately to your left, but you can see some halflings that are living there now, and even a couple gnomes. You actually don't see any goblins in this neighborhood, which they were maybe a quarter of the folk making this up. Even when the goblin bands were out doing what they do, the folks that live in the city would be here.
Fucking gentrification. Do I see any of the halflings when I stick my head out?
Yeah.
I'll yell out to them. Oi, fat feet! Where'd the goblins that used to live in there go?
It's Lightfoot, thank you.
I'll fucking eat you!
They moved out.
That's how goblins say hello. When?
Friendly.
A few weeks back. They just
Where'd
took
they go?
everything, started taking pieces of the houses, and well, they said they were joining Big Gut was doing something. Sorry, I don't speak Goblin. I got Big Gut.
Any other goblins still around?
Maybe in the city.
None around here though.
No. They all gone out to the stand. Something going on out there.
Fair enough. All right, thanks, fat feet.
Would you be roll?
Fucking scut. Yeah.
Good. Liked your family. And heads back in.
Scut. And I relay the information about the stand and all the goblins moving out and how the neighborhood's gone to shit. They have a decorative fountain you're not allowed to piss in. What is the point of having a bathroom outside if you're not allowed to use it? To look at it? Ah, yes. Look at all this fresh running water that you can't use.
Does seem
It's like a
quite
shithole.
wasteful.
Just go shit on the flowers. It's good for them.
I don't know immediately it is, but yeah, maybe.
What do you know about nature?
Yeah.
I think I know a thing or two about shitting on plants.
You might have me there. That's true. I don't have a lot of experience in that. That's 100% accurate.
All right.
Yeah, that's terrible about your house, Derek.
Mhm.
Sorry. pieces got taken and all of that.
Well, I mean, it looked like the rest of them if Big Gut gets his way and actually gets to invade Bastion. They'll take all kinds of bricks.
What would he do with like the whole big city? They're like,
Knowing
sorry.
him, probably use it to get another one.
Alright. Huh.
Is he
Interesting.
always been? Is that something he's always been trying to do, or is this more of a new thing?
I mean, we never really got along. Recall killed and ate my mother for having me. Wasn't really, we didn't play a lot of catch. I mean, he used to throw me at people and then yell catch. It wasn't my favorite game, if I'm being honest.
No, it doesn't sound great. I just thought maybe he had yelled about it or something.
I mostly spent my time with the forgers. People are gone. The bureaucrats, a couple of my cousins, two of my brothers, one of my sisters, a weird hedgehog man. That's about it.
Did they all live? I mean, did they live out here last time you were here, or did they live in the city?
What a great question.
Primarily out here.
Primarily out here, yeah. That's what I was just about to say that.
The keepers of the Temple of Gond actually live in the city. Most of them live in either the housing at the temple or in workers' housing in the city.
I relay this information. Yep. What'd you guys find out?
Oh,
Oh, excuse me.
well, I don't like being a spider near the circus. Although I ate well because the flies because of horses and whatnot. So that was interesting. Might have a new appreciation for you, Derek.
Oh,
Well, I mean, it wasn't cooked. So, um, so it was a rather interesting conversation for you, Elias,
Yeah.
because what he thought the whole beginning of your conversation was fuck, fuck, fuck. What on earth is this kid doing here?
Yeah, that's about the same reaction I was having. Did you get anything else from him? Just before I add context? It changes some things.
He doesn't know why you care about the traveler.
That's good.
He said, yeah, probably a city lockdown, probably a lot of things.
That's bad.
Yeah. I wish he'd thought a little bit about the Ostrite who asked about the eating contest. I want to know which Ostrite it is. That's me.
I could go find out after if you want.
No, because, if I have to hit them again, then I will.
Yeah, but I'd like to see that. So...
Well, there was a weird picture in his mind. I think it was his arms. And he had a snake tattoo, and there was a face, like a wicked face with teeth, and there was a dagger, and then there was you.
Yeah.
But you were young in like a guard outfit or something.
Long story, literally as short as possible. Tosha, someone is here to either kill you, your mother, or another really important person here.
Well, that is not great, but we kind of thought that was probably going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
There's probably multiple of them.
The thing is, and what I was kind of hoping, and I think I'm probably wrong, we know what happened the last couple times people did these ascension rituals. We know what my grandmother apparently tried to do involving poison and the wrong person drinking the wrong thing. I wasn't necessarily going to be surprised if they tried to take people out early. That's one of the reasons why we went to talk to the 2 former brides. But I get the feeling that if somebody took out Joe Schmo from one of the families that is not the biggest deal, if someone killed me, they're not going to lock down the city. Somebody killed... Actually, that's a question for you. If someone had announced themselves as being one of the candidates for the Ascension Ritual, and then they get, like, not, oh, it could have been an accident, but like, oh no, they found with like 5 arrows in their back. What's the likely response?
Well, I mean, we're not supposed to talk about who's a candidate. That's not something anyone is supposed to know.
So
But
they
I
just
don't
show
know,
up day of?
DM, what would be like the response, I guess?
People are not supposed to know what goes on in the Ascension. Who is a candidate is kind of up to... It's supposed to be public knowledge. Because if you are a candidate, you are obligated to go. So there's even a... how would I frame this? There's almost like a culture where it would even be not only acceptable but celebrated for announcing a new candidate. Historically, this has happened sometimes against folks' will, but sharing that information, any candidate getting like summarily murdered in a very clear way, that could lead to a lockdown and investigation if it's a known candidate.
I'll relay that. And then another question about that, because I was under the impression that the candidacy was also kept hush-hush. Is there, like, are there any other people I know of who are candidates other than, you know, the folks we've already talked about, like Olena, Ramanari, Crystal Toon, Elias, like anyone else that I would be aware of? Or is there like a record kept anywhere within the church that I know of known candidates?
So it's something that you could easily check a record of in the church. You also know that there are, at some of the churches down in Lower Bastion that are run by the Children of the Asher, some of the higher ranking folk there would probably have a list, would know who's been named or who's been rumored to be candidate, because there's always rumors as to whether or not so-and-so had a sigil and was marked or not, etc.
Did we hear when we were back at the Temple of Saloon about like a new candidate getting put up as well? Because like we know about Ramanari, we know about Olena. Was there somebody else who got announced and we found out when we were there? I don't remember.
I don't believe so.
Okay. I'm probably just misremembering then. In that case, that doesn't really narrow down the list of possibilities. He could have been hired to basically clear the way of anyone who could be a potential threat. Or he actually was brought here by Kamishava to make sure you get to the end.
I wouldn't put it past her. And
Well, you or Ramanari, I guess now, but
well, on the plus side, at least we should be able to find out who the other candidates are and try to talk to them. If we can at least have a large number of us looking out for this type of thing and helping each other. Obviously, we don't know who all we can trust, but people will at least want to save themselves, if nothing else, I assume.
that's not the problem. The problem is that this guy is really good at what he does.
Okay.
What do you recommend we do?
I don't know. The thing is that if you... He knows there's one person here who has seen his face, and that's me. So if this somehow goes sideways in a way that's like clearly not his fault, which is unlikely, then I don't know, somebody tells Kamishava, oh yeah, there's an assassin here that you didn't hire. And people start tearing through the city looking for him. Next likely place we're going to meet is in some dark alley, and I'm not coming out the other side of it. There is a part of me that, and I know you're not going to like this, if it's not you, and like, look, if he was going to kill Olena, I probably wouldn't stop him. It's the easier solution.
I would.
I know you would. If he was here to kill you, even if he was here to kill Ramanari, I would help do what I can. But like, I don't owe Olena anything. Personally. If this is going to be handled, either it has to be done in a way where he has no idea why something went wrong, or, just he doesn't get the opportunity. Nobody gets near enough for him to do something, or we have to kill him, which I would rather not do if we don't have to. Nate, I don't have it in my notes anywhere because I think I just gave an appellation and I don't want to use that right now. Do I actually know this guy's name?
You only know his moniker.
Cool. All right.
Well, this isn't my area, so whatever is the best way forward, I'm
There
open
isn't.
to.
Yeah,
But
there isn't one. It's sorry. What do you want to do? Do you think Kamishava would have hired him to ice Olena and anybody else who could be in your way?
I wouldn't put it past her, but I kind of feel like if she was doing it, she wouldn't hire an Alstrite, or I don't know if this person's an Alstrite, but I don't think she wouldn't hire someone from the south. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Could I make an insight check on my mom, DM? Like, I don't know what I would do to. My sense is that she probably wouldn't trust anyone from the south, but I don't know if that's actually true or if that's just what I'm thinking right now.
Go ahead and give me an insight check. There's a limit to what you could glean here because you're really just sort of this is all conceptual, right?
Right. I can try to find out more about her intentions potentially, because I'm gonna have to go talk to her about about the Temple of the Moon and everything, not everything that happened there, but some of the things that happened there anyway, so I can try to figure something out, from talking to her too. But
yeah, I mean, in this moment, go ahead and roll your check.
14?
With a 14, you know your mother doesn't trust Southerners. But if your mother knows someone from the North that is skilled in this way, that would do this sort of thing, you don't know who that would be either. Would you put it past your mother? You would like to think she wouldn't.
I'll relay that. So it could be her. But I don't know, something about this whole circus and all of the guards out, it doesn't feel like it, but I am not always great at reading her, so I could also be wrong.
He's independent. Last time I ran into him, he was working for the Guillaume. That went sideways for my benefit, but
yeah, I don't know. I feel like the simplest way, we know who the threat is and where they are, so I would say may as well kill him, but I obviously don't know what you know about.
That's not the
What we're
problem. The
dealing
problem
with.
is that he knows I've seen him. His immediate reaction is going to be to try to make sure that I can't fuck this up for him. Because neither of us knows exactly what the other person here is to do. So if he now thinks, you know what, my cover here is not as secure as it could be, he's going to vanish. And he'll vanish into the city and he'll do something else. Either he'll find a place to hide, like one of these conveniently abandoned houses, or something else. And I don't know what that would be. And if he's got Kamishava backing him, or somebody else here, it doesn't vibe like Olena, but I don't know, maybe Olena's family gives him a place to hide if it comes to that. So I don't. I honestly, I have no idea what to do.
I mean, I
And
think
just so that you know, Tosha, when he mentions Olena's family, with that same 14 in insight, as you're kind of thinking about the politics here, you do know that Iced Mian, the head of the military proper, not the Pale Ritualists, um, is another. He's one that your mother doesn't particularly like or trust, but you, as an outside observer, have seen sort of, we'll say there's a correlation in the way that the two of those tend to act and the actions that they are not capable of. And it crosses your mind that if your mother's possibly capable of this, Iced would absolutely be capable of this.
yeah, I'll just say I mean, Olena's family's not off the table for organizing this either. I mean, what comes to mind immediately is this is something we didn't necessarily know it was going to take the form of your acquaintance, but I think this was something I was afraid of after hearing what's happened at other ascensions anyway. So I don't know that it changes a lot as far as the danger we were facing. I think what I can try to do, I have to talk to Kamishava already, so I can try to see if I can figure out more about that. I have to talk to Olena anyway, so I can, try to figure out more about that, even though I have no idea if she'll even agree to meet with me. But I think the more candidates we can warn about the danger who might not know it yet, the better. And I don't know, and maybe I'm not the best with politics, but I trust the former brides. And it seems like they want what we want in this, so maybe it would be worth seeing what they might know, or if there's some way they might be able to help us, or if they've seen anything while we've been away that they might be willing to share. Yeah, I don't know. I guess, DM, does anything else occur to me just as I'm like thinking through this political situation of like anyone who I might like speak with, or anyone who I've like trusted in the past to kind of like look out for like basic information I might need to know, or anything like that?
I mean, by and large, when it comes to things down here at the lower city, you mostly trust Ramanari to have the ear of what's going on. When it comes to up in Upper Bastion, um, the two that you probably trust the most are the former brides. Otherwise, Bly Evish is the Keeper of Embers, the Archivist. Drow is probably another person that you occasionally keep counsel with, maybe more due to the necessity of having to work directly with the Archivist rather than because you particularly trust them more than others.
Forgive me for intruding, but there are many circuses, many things here. Is it not possible that there are many potential assassins for more than one candidate or same candidate. Many hands make quick the dagger, so to speak. So not just one threat, but potentially many.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, and even some candidates maybe have plans to take people out themselves too.
One problem is that if you if you hire 5 guys to kill someone and that person dies, you may have to pay all 5 guys.
Hmm.
If everybody's hiring someone to kill somebody else, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But yeah, we'll see.
So should we make? I mean, eventually, presumably, you'll meet them. All the names of the candidates that we know, because we have what 4 or 5. We just know off the top of our heads.
Yeah, I can definitely go to the archive at the church and look at the names of others that we know of. That should be pretty easy for us to come upon. And I think we obviously know about some that probably aren't on that list, so we have to assume that there's, some that we also won't know about, but
Huh. Looks like our plate is full once again.
Sure seems that way.
See, if you had just taken the slow way, you would have rolled in and there would have been a circus and we would have just had a circus episode.
Never.
So what's the plan? It's mid-evening at this point. You're at Derek's mother's home. The crew is trying to untangle this knot. Is anybody heading into the city this evening, or are you going to crash here for the evening?
I'll probably putz around and try and fix up the house a little bit. Mend where I can, patch the holes in the roof.
Yeah, you're mending where you can. You can see it looks like a lot of the loose bricks that were in and around the house have been removed, and so you're kind of like covering over gaps where it looks like chunks of masonry and things have been literally anything that wasn't just fastened, and some things that were has been taken. But as you're going through, you do see in the room that was your mother's, where a brick has been removed from the wall, you see a small piece of parchment.
It's weird. We don't know how to read and write.
With a gear stamped on it.
Oh.
That would explain why. Okay, well, I go ahead and take the parchment. See if I know how to read or write.
You take the parchment, and you can see there's a schematic on it.
Well, I'm good at it.
It's complex. It's kind of hard to follow as you're looking at it. You're like, well, these things should just. Well, how the hell does that fit together? And as you're
Games Workshop, got it.
Yep, exactly. So anyway, you're kind of like looking at it, and just in a minute or two, usually you can kind of get a gist of at least what it even is. And here, it's some kind of contraption with a bunch of gears in it. There's a long tube that has some sort of special cuts on the inside. There's some arcane sigils in various spots, and down towards the bottom, you just see not a name, not a name per se, but you see the sigil that would have been the symbol of your mother's family. Um, and then that is kind of outlined in the back with a symbol of a gear. And it just says off to the bottom center where the description for the picture would be, it just says Fate Thrower.
Fate
Oh.
thrower?
Fate.
F-A-T-E?
Yes, Fate Thrower.
Ah, see, I use this to huck my son. It's to play catch with my son!
Oh.
This weirdly worked. Nate, is there some kind of check that I can do to, like... Well, I guess my first question would it be normal for if goblins were to move to literally take bricks out of the wall? Or does that seem as strange as it does to me, Paddy the human?
So for goblins, like taking things that are useful and sometimes even a few things that aren't is not uncommon. But this is beyond. This seems they intentionally took all of the loose bricks and all of the kind of loose bricks.
So the
The
initiative there being probably they're trying to build something.
you think that's probably the case. They probably wanted to build something. That isn't uncommon, especially out in the stand. Like you might build a small building, or even like if there's goblin bands that are kind of at war with each other, one might build up like a small fort, and then the winner would probably take the wood and brick and things from that fort and build whatever the next thing they need is. That's not uncommon. This seems almost like it's sort of in that same vein.
Okay, and then would there be a check that I could do if I were to take a wander through town and look at the things that they've taken, like the types of brick or how big the brick is, or I don't know, like maybe there's a sign that was made of a specific metal or something like that that's no longer around to discern whether it was specifically a building that they were making or it was something else.
Yeah, you know what? Go ahead and give me an what's your crafter's tools?
I have a bunch now, actually.
Okay.
Mm.
Um,
But I have smith's tools, I have pottery, and
Hmm.
then I think, let me look here. Where's the? It's in the bottom left. All right. Let's look. And I had one other one too. Oh, it's on the front page. Yeah, leather workers. That was the other one. Leather
Oh.
workers, masons, smiths.
so give me a mason's tool check, which I think is just your wisdom plus proficiency. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So this is the best check that I can fucking do then, because it's a +7.
Jesus.
This is better than my religion check,
Well, okay.
which is good because I rolled a fucking 6.
Yikes.
6 plus 7, 13.
So 13. They took a few different sizes of bricks, and you can actually see some tool marks in a couple of spots. Not in your mom's house, but in one of the other recently abandoned or reclaimed buildings.
Sorry.
There's tool marks. It looks like they had removed a larger brick, but broke it down to be a bit smaller. So you think whatever they're building, it's probably not a structure, because otherwise you would want those large bricks to like kind of set up your foundation and be able to have a bit more sturdy base. Um, you don't think they're building something, and weirdly, with your pottery skill,
Alright.
there's areas where you can see it looks like mud has been just dug up and wheeled out with maybe wheelbarrows or small sleds. So they've also taken specifically like clay mud.
Okay, I relay this to specifically, we'll say Tosha, back at home. Just like, hey, when you meet up with your mum later, you might want to. Now, I take back what I previously said. It might be something you want to mention,
About
and
Big
I
Cat trying
denote the
to
kinds of mud and
take
bricks
over
and things they've
Bastion.
taken.
I'll let her know.
Fucking pottery.
Fucking party.
I mean, I
Amazing.
wouldn't.
All right. And Tosha, are you staying out here with the party, or are you heading up into Bastion?
I feel like I probably won't be able to like do a lot since it's like evening time by the time I get up there anyway, so and it doesn't really seem wise to be running around by myself with potential assassins around. So I think I'm gonna stay here. And also like talking about sensitive things, this seems a little bit safer than in the middle of everything on the Upper Bastion. So I think I'll stay here with the party for the
As long
night.
as Fat Feet doesn't say anything about it.
All right. The party settles into Derek's mother's house. A strange circus setting up outside of Lower Bastion on the outskirts. Some of the members of town, you can see the guard is kind of telling people to like stay back, but particularly some children, some other folks, slowly but surely over the course of the early evening start to kind of trickle in and see what this is all about. You hear whispers through town that there's some sort of free circus that's come in celebration of the Asher. And as you come in to a close, a cold wind blows through Bastion. Unnaturally cold. Almost as though it's suddenly winter for just a brief
Fudge.
5 or 10 minutes, and then it passes on.
Mm.
But you make it through the evening restfully, without issue. And we'll find out next time what else you uncover as you go through, you report back in Bastion, and you look into the strange happenings and the strange folk who have shown up here in Bastion. So thank you everybody who joined us. I just forgot there was a break, so we're going to stop a little early, and we'll pick up here next time. We'll see you next time. Same Mama Channel, same Elias time. Bye. Oh, wait. You know what? Bye.
Bye.
But hey.